There's an old abandoned building near my house. Typical. I know. Always there's hundreds of rumors and stories about this building. Some normal, some insanely out of this world. Some people say that there's an insane maniac who lives in there and tortures anyone who enters. I've even heard that there's a portal that goes to some other dimension where nightmares come to life. Crazy people, am I right? The only consistent bit of knowledge I know is that whoever goes in there either doesn't come back out or comes back out completely different. My best friend, Dana, and I, Chris, names changed to protect identity, of course, are huge enthusiasts when it comes to anything supernatural or even remotely strange, so we decided to check it out. Since the last disappearance, cops have been patrolling on that area that day due to prevent anyone else from getting in, so we had to wait till night. At about 10:30, she came over and started preparing our gear. We started to pack some food, warm clothes, and a handgun, Beretta M92 for the gun buffs out there, in case there's a really homicidal maniac living in there. We left the house around 11:30 to 12ish and arrived at the building a couple of minutes later. The second we stepped out of the car, I noticed an unusual eerie fog surrounding the building. Seeing that it was wintertime, fog wasn't new to the area, so I didn't really think much of it at the time, but it was extremely thick. We grabbed our gear and headed inside. The door was locked, so we had to break a window to get inside. We threw our stuff in through the window and climbed into the building. Worst mistake of my life. If I could go back in time, I would have never set foot in that hellhole. The first thing I noticed inside was how abnormally dark it was, though we had a few LED flashlights, but they didn't do much from helping us see. At about a 3 feet range of vision, we decided to explore anyways. Danny was holding the camera and switched to night vision, but even that didn't do too good. I was holding the flashlight in my hand, close to my gun, in case some deranged psychopath tried to kill us. As we reached to the center of the building, I noticed a smell, not a nice smell. I'm not quite sure how to describe it. It had a metallic ting to it and slightly burned my nose with each inhale. We also started to hear footsteps. They were quick, almost too quick to be natural. Tap, 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 tap. We reached a long stretch of a hallway that led to a big open area. In the center of the room was a big opening that nature decided to create and to extend down about 20 feet. That seemed to be a basement of some sort. As we approached the hole in the ground, my eyes started getting blurry, and my hand started shaking. The flashlight started flickering, so I banged it against my hand a bit to try to get it to work. Danny tripped over something, and the camera flew out of her hand. It slid a couple feet down and then fell through the hole in the room. We knew it was beyond broken, so we didn't even bother to try and get it. We turned the flashlight to the ground and tried to figure out what Danny had tripped over. The light shown on the ground had revealed the body of a deer. It was torn apart. The body had been chewed on, clawed at, and ripped up. Blood was all over the floor. I immediately recognized the smell. It was blood, but the smell was too pungent to be from that one deer. Taking a close look at the floor, I noticed the blood smeared was all over it. Not only that there were prints in the blood, but like hands, but the fingers were too long. By long, I mean almost a foot in length. They were pointed at the tip, almost like talons. The prints were everywhere, on the floor, on the walls, and a few were even on the ceiling, which I didn't even know how they got up there. The prints all seemed to lead to one room. The door to the room was barely hinged, and the knob was completely torn off. My heart was racing. Who the heck was in there? No animal could have done this. No living creature had prints like this. I'm consumed by curiosity, and before I could snap out of it, Danny is pushing the door open with me right behind her. And what I saw still haunts me to this day. Bodies. Piles and piles of bodies. Some still intact, others dismembered beyond recognition. Some animal parts were unmistakably human. The blood on the floor was there were the same prints on the wall and on the ceiling. The same footsteps, rapid, stopping occasionally, then continuing again. Tap, 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 tap. The door shuts and I swing around and shine the light through the door. No handle on either side. Tap, 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 tap. It's coming from above me. I point the flashlight on the ceiling, and a dark shadow darts across and out of my vision. And the door. Tap, 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 tap. It sounds like it's right behind us. Danny is screaming with fear, a piercing scream that has me on the verge of tears. I punch a hole in the wall, and I fired some more shots in. I was able to use the hole as some sort of handle for the door. We pushed it open and ran out as fast as we can. Tap, 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 tap. The door slams behind us, and it felt like we were being chased. Tap, 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 tap. It was right behind us. Tap, 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 tap. Danny screamed again. I turned around and see a face of pure terror. Danny stops running, and so do I, instinctively. I go to ask her what's wrong, but she says nothing. I look down at the 5 long twig-like fingers going straight through her body. I look back at her face, blood gushing out of her mouth. I see her mouth the word, run. Before I turn and run, I look behind her and see a small little pair of glowing yellow eyes. They squinted, almost like whatever the heck it was smiling. I turn around and run as quick as I can, tossing all my things out the window and climb as fast as my body could carry me. I get to the car and check all my pockets for the keys. Tap, 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 tap. Danny has had my keys. I smashed through the window with the butt of the gun and opened the door inside. I jumped in and hotwired the car. Don't ask me how I know how to. I throw the cars in reverse and drive as fast as I can. I run inside and slip on the floor because of the amount of blood on my shoes. I run to the kitchen to get my shoes off and find the house phone. I call the police, but the phone lines are down. Cut. I'm not sure how to get the story out there, so I'm typing this on my computer and sending it to anyone who's reading. Don't go into abandoned buildings. They're closed for a reason. I'm not sure how much longer I have because I heard something earlier. It sounded like it was coming from my living room. Tap, tap, tap. Tap. Tap.